everyone. Oops, got an upside down card here. Hope you're ready to make some cards. Hi, Mom. Hi, Sharon. Let me know if you're here so I can see who's ready to go. I know Judy's here too. Looks like the post office cooperated and everybody got their kits in time, so that's good. I'm just going to hold off here, see as everybody signs in. Oh, hi, Scrappy. So glad you can join us today. I stuck with 6 cards today, so hopefully the wouldn't go quite as long as we did on that last session with the 9 cards, but there'll be a few leftover cards of the Picture My Life cards to play with if you want to either do some insides or put together a couple more cards. Hi, Kathy. Okay, we'll see you later then. Have fun. Now, if you've taken one of these classes before with the PML cards, you'll know that the 2 sides of the card are usually, one of them is a horizontal configuration and one of them's a vertical. And sometimes like this one, they're different colors. This one's focusing on the blue and this one on the green. So, I chose the combination that was more pleasing to me. But if you like the other side better, you're always welcome to go ahead and, turn that around and use the other side. This one would take up a little more space because we cut on this one. So you might have to make some other adjustments, but it's totally up to you. I'm going to go through my pack of cards here and kind of pile them onto which goes with which card, and I'll go over it again as we make each card. So and I know you guys don't have the sample cards, you just have your envelopes, but I will point that out also. This set makes, you could use it for a lot of different occasions. Did I use this one? Guess not. We are going to trim some of these cards as well, so get your paper cutter handy. Okay, so these are ones I don't think we used, but you never know. I may have missed something, so I'm not going to put those far away. Sometimes you don't realize, looking at the cards, what other pieces you used. And we're going to do a little fussy cutting on these too, so you'll need a good pair of scissors or a craft knife and a cutting mat if you prefer to cut them that way. All right, I am going to get started here, and I am going to start with the cards we're going to fussy cut first. So we're fresh doing that. So actually, why don't you get out your biggest envelope first, the big purple one. That one's easy to identify, and we'll do this card first. And you'll notice that this envelope is a little big for the card. That's because I don't send square envelopes. You may or may not be aware that it's more expensive to send a square envelope. So I always put it in a rectangular envelope, any square card I make, because I don't want postage is expensive enough without paying any extra. And I have notes here on how I cut everything, so I'm going to be consulting those. And then after class, I will send them out to you. So this one I called the blue and yellow tiles because these kind of look like tiles. And in your envelope, you should have the card. And I scored and folded everybody's cards this time so they fit in the mailing envelope a little bit better, so you don't have to worry about doing that. And make sure you can see everything. And we'll cut everything out, and then we'll attach it all. So the first card you're going to need is this one, and we're going to use the two sides. And you can see that I just used the two sides of that to create this card. So you can do this with a paper cutter, or you can do it with a craft knife. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick this in so that it cuts right between these two little tiles. So straight down the middle. And as I put it in my paper cutter, the card is just a little past 3.5. And so we've got this strip. In the back, we've got that strip if you like those blues better. And then we're going to turn it around, and we're going to do the same thing to cut the other edge off. And when I put this one in my paper cutter, the second one, or just about at 3 1/8. So this is what we have left. Now this would be good, would be great to put inside the card if you wanted to stamp a sentiment on that, you could put that inside the card. You could layer another piece of yellow cardstock behind that if you wanted to mirror the front, or blue. Or you could, use the two sides on another card. Whatever you want. And then on this card, this is the cardstock is 5.5 by 11, folded in half. So it's 5.5 by 5.5. And so this card is 6 inches tall, and we are going to trim it down to 5 inches. And it's a symmetrical design. So that means we want to take an inch altogether off. So we're going to take a 1/2 inch off the top and a 1/2 inch off the bottom. So I'm going to cut it at 5.5, and then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to cut it at 5. And again, you can save these strips as decorative strips for another card. And then we are going to cut these two kind of vines, or I'm totally blanking on the word I want, but the decorative elements, we're going to cut these out of 2 different cards. So we're going to cut one off of this one, and we're going to cut the lemons off of this. And I don't remember. They are the same size, so it doesn't matter which side you cut it from, but I'm going to cut it from this side, because if I, and actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just chop it, cut it, and it's about 2 7/8 left. So I'm just going to cut that off, because now this piece I can use again on an inside of a card, or a journaling spot on a scrapbook, or something like that. So to me, that makes the most sense to save that side, that I can use it for something else. This one I'm not as worried about, because it's just lines. But if you wanted a small piece with lines, you can go ahead and cut that too. Sometimes it's easier to fussy cut off of a smaller piece of cardstock anyway. So I cut right underneath. I cut in, right underneath that first set of dotted lines. So now, if you don't write in straight lines and you need some help, you can use that. Okay, so what I do is I cut about 1/8 of an inch away from the printed design. And it doesn't have to be perfect, especially in this kind of shape. It's not like it's a solid shape. You just want to give the feel of the shape when you cut around it. Now be careful down here, because there's some very faint like stamen coming out of the flower. And when you cut like this, you're always supposed to keep your scissors still, and you're moving the paper. That's what gives you the control. And that's it. The storm is rolling in. I hear thunder, and the rain came down a few minutes ago. And we have that one. I'm just going to pause for a minute here. So you guys can catch up to me. Let's see if I can find my tweezers. I told you guys to have your tweezers ready in case you want them for the sequins. But I don't see mine. Yep, they're there. They're just shorter than the rest of my tools. Okay, so I'm going to assemble the card. And the first thing we're going to put down the yellow panel. And this is going to go centered top to bottom on the card and left to right. But it's the longer way is left to right. And I cut mine wrong. Did I cut everybody's wrong? I'm so sorry about that if I did. They're supposed to be 5 1/4. And mine is obviously 5 1/2. So I do apologize for that. If I did cut yours wrong, just trim it to 5 1/4. And I'm going to just take a little more challenging when you've already put the adhesive on. I'm going to take an 1/8 inch off of each side on mine. Simply because I already put the adhesive on, and instead of cutting the adhesive off totally from one side, I just cut a little bit off of each side, and then I don't have to reapply it. Okay, that's better, but it's still the long ways left to right. And then you've got a wider space at the top and the bottom. And then we're going to attach our blue card, which we trimmed down to 5 inches. Yep, just wanted to check after that. Now this would be pretty too, this yellow one. If you wanted a more subtle, you could use a blue cardstock and then use the yellow side. Or if you wanted to really yellow, you could use it yellow on yellow. But this is also centered, but this time the longer direction is up and down. Okay, yours is 5 1/2 too, Sharon. I must have read the measurement and then cut them all wrong. Sorry about that. Well, at least I cut them too long and not too short. And we're going to put on our 2 tile pieces. And these are going to go flush up against the blue card. And you can look, if you have trouble centering it on the cardstock, you can actually kind of look on the design on the card and see that it's centered, whatever is easiest for you. And that'll give you a little border of the yellow still on the left. And the same on this side. And then these little vines I also put down flat on the card, but if you preferred foam tape, you could raise them up. You could also easily leave them off if you don't like them. I just thought the card needed a little something extra, although it's pretty without them too. And this one goes on top. Whoops, didn't quite get that centered. It's better. And you know what? I'm going to hold off until we finish all the cards to attach the sequins, and we can do it all at once if that works for you guys. So that's that card. Bring it up a little. It was a test, Sharon. Definitely a test. Okay. Keep it up here in case you need to refer back to it. Next, we're going to do the love card. So the cards we'll need for that are the one that says love, the pink with the white floral squares on it. It's blue on the back, but we're going to use the pink side. And this green smaller card that says love, love, love. And that's what we're going to cut these corners out of. And then we'll need the envelope, and it's the second biggest envelope. We need a bigger card to fit that whole love onto. So this card is 6 1/4 by 8 1/2, folded at 4 1/4 on the 8 1/2 inch side. So it turns out to be 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And inside your card, you should have these two skinny strips of sea glass colored glitter paper. And this is paper, so it's going to have to be attached with glue. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is fussy cut our green corners, and corners. And I think this is the last fussy cutting we're doing in the class. So I'm just going to come down around this leaf to get the point of the leaf. And then get this other corner and come around this little flower and leaves. And if you had any need for some love, you could always cut those out as well and use those on something. Which green card? Oh, sorry, Sharon, I didn't look up while I was cutting. It's this green card that says love, love, love. And it looks like this when it's all together. And on the back, it is pink and says love, love, love. Whoops, I guess I was too close to myself, but this is the side we're using here. Yes, it's small. It's one of the small ones. And we're just cutting those two corner floral images out of the corners. Okay, good. I'll give you a little minute there to cut it out before I assemble. All right, so this love card is 4 inches, and the love sentiment we want to keep 2 inches on it. So that means we're going to cut 1 inch off of each side. So I'm going to put this in my paper cutter, and I'm going to cut the bottom off. I'm going to set the top at 3 inches. And I'm going to turn it around and put it in again, and I'm going to set it at 2 inches, cut 1 inch off the top. We're left with a 2-inch strip. And you can save what you cut off if the other side has some pink, if you need some pink accent. I think it said love there on the back, but there's some flowers left you might want to use. You know, sometimes I use these bits and pieces on the inside. Let me see what it looks like. Yeah, I like that. See, we'll do this on the fly here. This is the strip. This was obviously the L and the V of the love on the back. I'm going to cut right above the V. So it's about a 3 1/8. I just want to even it out a little. So I'll cut it at 2 3/4. And I have just this little piece that has some cute little flowers on it. And this is my sample card, obviously, but I'm just going to put that right on the edge there on the inside. as an extra little decoration, or you can move it in a little bit. If you assume, you might want to wait until you have your greeting, but if you assume your greeting is a little narrower, you can put that in there a little more, and you just have a little extra decoration on the inside. Okay, Sharon is got hers cut so we can put our card together here. So we've got this 4x6 pink card. So we're going to put that down. Now, if we wanted to be frugal with our paper, we could actually cut like a 1-inch strip, 2 1-inch strips off for the top and the bottom. But I'm making it easy, and I'm just going to put down the whole card. And like I said, this card is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So you put on a 4x6 card, and you've got a perfect 1/8-inch border all the way around. And then we're going to put our love, which again, we cut down to 2 inches. We cut 1 inch off the top and 1 inch off the bottom. And we're going to put that right in the center of the card. It's going to be the same length, but we're going to center it top to bottom. And now this is probably the trickiest part on this card. This is just scrap paper. And we're going to put down these little strips. Now, if you have little narrow 1/8-inch tape, you can use that. I'm going to use my glue pen here. You could also use a liquid glue if you're really good with a steady hand, just to put a small bead down. I've got a new glue pen in the catalog. It's a quickie glue pen, which has a really fine tip on it, which I didn't get one yet, but I hear it's really good for putting small things on. So we're putting it just flush up against the top of that love strip. Just make sure you get those ends down well. And then we're going to put another one right below. Now this I said this is glitter paper. It's in sea glass. Got a lot of new colors of glitter paper in the new catalog, so that's pretty exciting. So I just cut these with my craft knife, these little thin strips from the big piece of 12x12 paper. And it's funny how skinny they are, but still really effective. So there we go. We like adding glitz to our cards, right? And now, I did use foam tape to attach these corners. You could put them flat if you prefer. Glad you like it, Sharon. Should make a nice wedding card or even Valentine's or I suppose a baby girl card. I suppose baby boy card too if you weren't going with traditional colors. Boy and girl baby colors. It's too bad this one that wasn't pink on one side and blue on the other. Then you would have the traditional colors no matter which one you needed. But they didn't do that on this one. So I'm just putting a bunch of pieces of foam tape. That one's extra. And I'm just taking these off over the garbage so I don't make a mess. Or I don't make more of a mess than I'm already making. Probably more accurate a statement. I thought these were pretty easy cards, but they're but they might make a nice impact, so hopefully you'll like them too. Well, I'm sure you do because you're taking the class. But all right, so now what I'm going to do is put these in the corner, and I'm going to line them up with the pink card, keeping that white border of cardstock. And I'm going to do that both in the top right corner and the bottom left. I really make a shadow with my white when I come up there. And then all we have left are the sequins, but again, we'll do those at the end. All right. And now all the envelopes are the same size, but I stacked them in the same order. So if you didn't move yours around, hopefully they're in the same order. So I'll just take the first one and see what we got. So we got the pink, very light pink cardstock. Which is this card here, Walking on Sunshine. And inside the pink card, you should have a strip of silver shimmer trim, which is different than the glitter paper. We've got this large 4x6 card that has little branches with, I don't know if those are flowers or fruit or whatever on them. On the back, it's the green, but on the side, it's the very light gray. We've got this pink card that has a white floral print on it. And on the back, it's gray. And then we're going to use this green card with the rose that says Walking on Sunshine. So those are the pieces you will need for this card. Alright, so on the large card, we're going to use as our background, and it's 6 inches, and we want to cut it down to 5 1/4, because this is the cardstock was 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, make a standard size card 4 1/4 by 5.5. So we want the card to be 4, which is already 4 wide by 5 1/4. So just trim off on the long side 3/4 of an inch. So you're at 5 1/4. And then while you have your paper cutter out, you're also going to trim your green card by a 1/2 inch. So this is 3 by 4. We want it to be 3 1/2. We're going to cut out some of that extra green at the top. So I'm going to put the bottom of the card at 3 1/2, chop off the top, and we don't lose any of the design there. And those two are the only pieces that get cut down for this card. And the large gray card goes on first, centered on the pink card. This 3 by 4 pink card with the white print goes on next. Well, actually, the two cards are kind of going to go on in conjunction. So go ahead and put your adhesive on this one. Put it aside for a minute. You're going to put your adhesive on this one too, your floral card. And what you're going to do is you're going to attach the floral to the pink card, and you're going to leave an equal border, which will be about 1/4 of an inch at the top, the left side, and the bottom. It will overhang the pink card on the right because the two cards are the same width. So you see how I have an equal border on those 3 sides, and it's overhanging over here on the right. And then we're going to put it down on the card, and this edge, this green edge, is going to line up with the gray edge of that card on the front. And you're going to put it down so you have about 1/4 of an inch above the pink. So this gray edge or green edge lines up with the gray edged card. And I put it down a little farther, but about 1/4 of an inch of the gray is showing above this pink card. And then we're going to put our shimmer trim on. And the shimmer trim is actually sold as a ribbon on a roll, and it has a backing on it. It has adhesive on it. So I should have had you attach it before I glued the card down, but I wasn't thinking ahead. So what you can do is put it, well, you could do it one of two ways, depending on how long of a piece. I usually try to give you a little longer piece so it's not too short. You can cut it, you can eyeball it here, or you can like kind of draw a pencil line on here so you know where to cut it. So it's the length of this gray card. Or if it's long enough and you don't want to eyeball it there, you can actually just make it the length, or the width rather, of the pink card, and then you could just tape it down, and then you can trim off what's left of it. But I marked this here, so I'm just going to cut it here, and it should be that width. I can still see some pencil marks, so I'm going to erase that. Never written on it with pencil before. That actually works pretty good. All right, now this is for some people the hardest part. Oh, and I got lucky. It's got a clear backing on it to peel off and stick. And that's it. Everybody keeping up okay? Judy, we're using the pink side of the little card. So we've got the gray side of the big card, the pink side of the little card, and the green side of this one. All right. Let's see what's next. All right, the next one is the gray card. And it has a strip of the sea glass shimmer paper or glitter paper. It's shimmer trim glitter paper. And this is the card. I think this is my favorite card. So subtle. That's not coming up on my camera. I need a better camera. Hard to find these days, though. We've got this small floral card, and it's got the floral design on the back, too. But we're going to use the horizontal one. This card has like all the little gray hash marks. It's green on the other side, but we're going to use the gray side. And then we're going to use this pink card that says Babes, Brunch, and Bubbly. It's gray on one side. It says loving every second, but we're going to use the pink side. And we're not actually going to see that design. We're using it as a pink background paper. So those are the pieces we need for the next card. I'll let you dig those out while I throw away my scraps. The scraps that are so scrappy, I can't keep them for anything else. Yeah, I know. It's so sad to throw away scraps, but some of them just aren't worth keeping. Oops, sorry, I just bumped my wire. Okay, so just like we did on the previous card, this card is 5.5 by 8.5. Scored on the 4 1/4, folded to make 5.5 by 4 1/4. So this card, this is the gray with the hash marks, 6 inches. So it has to be trimmed down to 5 1/4 inches long to fit on the card. So we're just going to cut off that at 5 1/4 inches. And then this card, I was trying to get the most of the pink border. So the cutting is a little odd on this one. So you're going to cut off you're going to cut off the top and the bottom first, and you're going to cut 3/8 of an inch off each side. So you're going to cut this at 3 5/8. And then you're going to turn it around and you're going to cut it at 3 1/4. Now it's 3 1/4 inches tall. Now, see, I made notes about this. So we're going to cut 5/8 off of the right side. So we're going to, sorry, because of my paper cutter, we're going to do it this way first. Off of the left side, we're going to cut 1 1/8 inch off. So I'm going to turn it upside down. And I'm going to cut it at 4 7/8. The measurement wasn't right for me to cut it the other way first. If you have a bigger paper cutter, you wouldn't have had a problem, but I've got my tiny one here. So, so this is 4 7/8. And then it's going to be 4 1/4. Then you get some leftover strips of pink paper. So the finished sides of this is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So again, if you didn't get that the first time, you're going to cut you're going to put it in first with the bottom at 3 3 5/8. You're going to turn it around. So the top is now at 3 1/4. Then you're going to turn it upside down and cut it at 4 7/8. And then you're going to turn it right side up and cut it at 4 1/4. And that's just so you get more of the pink around the edges. If you had cut it, from the top and one edge, we would have seen this design underneath our card, and I didn't want that. I just wanted to use the pink portion of the card. So and I know this is 4 inches because this is paper and I cut it, so we don't have to worry about the length of it like we did on the other card. So the first thing we're going to put down is this card with the gray hash marks. gonna center it on the card. Have our nice border around it. The finished dimension of the pink card is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Let me know if you want me to go over the cutting of it again. I'll pause for a minute because there's always a delay from when I say something and you guys hear it and then can type a response. All right. So this is the card with the flowers on it. This is a 4x3 card. Okay, Sharon. We're not going to do anything to it. We are just going to attach it to the pink card we cut. And that's why we cut down the pink card to the size we did. It's 1/4 inch bigger in each direction than this card. And I'm just going to center it on that. And your draw is going to get like just a little tip of green from the leaf at the top and the bottom, but it's hardly noticeable because I managed to figure out how to cut that card so I could center this card on it and we could just get that nice pale pink background. That would be ballerina pink. That's the name of our pale pink, close to my heart, ballerina pink. Oh, just ballerina. They don't say ballerina pink. Okay, so we're going to attach this to the front of the card. And we're going to center top to bottom and have it about 1/8 inch, a little more, from the edge of the paper with the gray hash marks. So you have an 1/8 inch border of gray solid, then an 1/8 inch border of the pattern paper. Trying to get in the best light for you guys. These colors are so pale and they're beautiful in person, but it does not translate well on my camera, that's for sure. And then we're going to put down our sea glass glitter paper, and this is the paper, so it does need adhesive. And it's the same size as the background paper, top to bottom here. We're going to put it in about 1/4 inch in from the edge of the card with the flowers on it. And just put it right on top there. Now, if you wanted to have a message, it would be nice to put a sentiment here too. You can move this over, if you wanted to do that as a slightly different design. Of course, you could also have the sentiment go on top of the roses. That would look pretty too. I didn't put sentiments on these because I didn't know, everybody sends cards for different occasions and have different uses. And, sometimes it's one thing when you're in an in-person class and you can make the decision as to whether to stamp, the sentiment it or not. But if I stamp it and send it to you, then you're kind of stuck with it. So I don't want anybody to be stuck with something that they can't use or didn't, it's not appropriate for the way they wanted to use it. So, all right. So that's that card. Getting there. Let's see, we've only got 2 left. So which one is it going to be? It's going to be the yellow card. And the yellow card has another piece of green sea glass shimmer glitter paper in it. And this is what the card looks like. You're going to need this beautiful print with the flowers and the lemons. You're going to need this card that says happiest together. And it says the same thing on the back, only bigger. And then you're going to need this smaller yellow card. And on it, it says make lemonade. And it says the same thing on the back. All right, so this card again, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded on the 4 1/4. Makes the card 4 1/4 by 5.5. So we're going to cut our background card, and we're going to cut that to 5 1/4. We are also going to cut the yellow lemonade card. Now, it says make lemonade on both sides. I am going to use the side where it is written at the bottom. So we're going to cover it up and not look at that sentiment. And so we're going to cut this at 3 7/8. And we're going to cut the side that says make lemonade. And then we're going to cut this side, this card, I mean. And we're going to cut it at 2 5/8. So we're going to put the top of it in the paper cutter at 2 5/8. And by doing that, we're cutting off all the lines. And now throw this out because you could either use this strip or you can use those 2 strips. Those are the perfect accents to go inside the card. What I would probably do is, depending on how wide my sentiment is, if it was a really wide one, what I would do is cut this off and then put the sentiment and this underneath it. If it was a little narrower and you wanted to frame it, I would cut both of these off, stamp your sentiment, and then put these on either side of it. You could also use those lines if you needed to write a message. Okay, so this is 2 5/8 inches tall, but we also have to trim trim the left and right side. So we're going to take 1/2 inch off of each. So it's 4 inches wide, and you're going to cut it at, just making sure I'm right here, yep, 3.5, which is right at the end of the R of together. You'll know you're cutting too much off if you start to cut off the letters. And then we're going to cut another 1/2 inch off the other side. So now we're at 3 inches. And again, the letters and the design just fit in that width, which obviously is why I chose that width. And now we're going to assemble. We're going to put our background down first. This is another one. You could always use the other side if you prefer. And that goes centered on the yellow card. We are going to use the Making Lemonade card. And the right side is the one that says Making Lemonade along the bottom. So just make sure you put your adhesive on the opposite side of that. We're actually going to turn it this way so that Making Lemonade is to the left. So because it's the finished card, it's under the shimmer trim here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it down about 3/4 inch from the top of the background card here. Now, not a critical measurement, be a little higher or lower. You're also going to put your left side that says Making Lemonade against, in line with the edge of the other floral pattern paper. Next, we're going to put down this happiest together. And we're going to put it to the right of this yellow card, lemonade card, and you're going to put, you have about 1/8 inch, an equal border around the top, the right side, and the bottom of the card. So you can see you have, this card is in 1/8 inch, and this one is another 1/8 inch with an equal border around the 3 sides. And now we're going to put that glitter paper on. It's the paper, so it needs adhesive. And we're going to put that, mine's a little narrower than on my sample, so I'm not sure what yours is going to be. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up next to, it actually works out pretty well, next along flush with the edge of the patterned card. And that actually gives me that nice yellow border around the happiest together card. Just perfect. Now on the original I guess I managed to cut my glitter paper a little wider so there isn't that border. but I think either way looks good. So the secret is just to put the glitter trim, or glitter paper in line with that background paper. That's the important part. I know the patterns in this paper are so beautiful, but that glitter just adds a little extra. And our last card. White card with pink glitter paper inside. And that's the card. Now we're going to use this pink Lovely. It says Lovely and it has a wreath on it. There's green on the back. There's a blue with these kind of floral square design on them. And then there's this big card that says You and Me. This is the side we're going to use. Just going to make a note here in your instructions that to use the vertical side of that one. But on the other one we did too. Just so if you look back at these, if you decide to make these again and you look back, you know what we did. Now, I will tell you that the catalog that sells these items, I think they're still available because it's still supplies last, but the catalog ends on Tuesday, the 31st, as well as the big core catalog also ends on Tuesday, the 31st. And then the new catalogs start on Wednesday, September 1st. So we've got some exciting new stuff. But if you had wanted another pack of these cards, or you wanted the paper that coordinates with them, all that stuff retires on Tuesday. Now, sometimes it's available after that, but there's no guarantees about that. So, the first thing we're going to do here is cut our cards again. And sorry, I was looking at my directions. I got distracted. So we're going to use the vertical side of this. We're going to cut this at 2 3/4. And we have the other whole half of the card to use for something else. Okay, and then we're going to cut this lovely card, and we're going to cut a half an inch off the top and bottom. So it's 4 inches tall. We're going to cut at 3.5, turn it around, and cut at 3, which makes it a square 3-inch card that just focuses on that 3th. And I think that's all we're cutting on that. Yeah, that's all we're cutting for that card. The cut line on the first one is 2 3/4. And you'll see you just have a little bit of that ampersand, but that's going to be covered up. But that shows you that you cut it at the right spot. Basically, you're cutting it below. You've got these 3 flowers on the side, and you're just cutting it below that 3rd flower. And we're going to put this card on first, onto the base card. And we're going to put it so that it has about 1/8 of an inch border around the top and the left side. And I know it's harder to see that because it's white on white. There you go. And then we're going to put on our pink glitter paper next. And we're going to put that on the opposite side of the card. I switched sides here. And you're going to basically center it in the space you have here between the edge of the card and the edge of this card. You've got about 1/4 of an inch on either side of it. Again, that's really crucial. And if your glitter paper sticks is a little longer, you could always trim it. We're going to put this blue card on next. And that's going to go, we're basically just going to put it under the flowers and to the side of these flowers. So, we're going to cover up this blue line, but we want the flowers to show. So, right where it seems to make the most sense. Don't want to cover up much of the flowers, but like I said, you want to cover up that blue line. And then we're going to put on our lovely wreath. Our lovely wreath or our lovely wreath. And this is going to be centered left to right onto the blue card. And you're going to leave my sliver of glitter paper I just trimmed off. You're going to leave just a little bit of room, a little border at the top, about 1/8 of an inch border at the top to see that blue, and you'll have about 1/8 of an inch border of white at the bottom of the card and centered left to right on the blue card. And that's it, except the sequins. So you've got a bunch of strips and a couple of whole cards that we didn't use that I totally recommend, use them on the inside or make another. I mean, right here, this one right there makes a card. Just lovely. Either way, no work needed. So there's a lot you can do with these. I'm really loving these PML cards. They make such nice cards. PML stands for Picture My Life. And then we're going to use a piece of, let's see if I can find a piece of plain scrap paper for you guys. Here we go. Our sequins. Now, in the past, we've used sequins that have adhesive on them. These are loose sequins. They are sold like this without adhesive, so you can use them in shaker cards, because shaker cards are so popular right now. But you can also use them to decorate your projects. You just need to provide the adhesive. Now they are a bit staticky, and I poured a bunch for everybody in those little bags. You should have plenty. If you don't have the exact same color, or you can't manage to find one as the exact same color I used, don't worry about it. I just kind of picked them at random when I was putting them on the cards. They also have like little hearts in them that are really cute. So we'll go backwards here. And if you had little tiny glue dots, you can use that. I'm going to use liquid glue here. Now the secret is to put enough on that it holds the sequin, but not so much that it gushes. If it does come out the sides a little bit, it's fine. Just, most of the glue is dry clear. Just make sure after you're done here, you put them aside without anything on top of them until they dry. If you're not a sequins person, you do not have to add them. It's up to you. I'm just pulling the glue off of the tip of the dried glue off the tip here. I don't know if it's going to interfere, but if I take it off, it definitely won't interfere. Okay, so on this lovely card, I just put 3 sequins down there in a row underneath the lovely, and I used the biggest ones, and I used 2 white ones on either side, and then the middle one is kind of an iridescent color. It's funny. That's the one first thing that I've seen that looks darker on the camera than it looks in real life. So I'm just gonna, I find it easier to put all my dots of glue first. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to space them out like 1/4 of an inch away from each other. I always put the center one down first, and then I can put the 2 on the side at an equal distance. And I'm going to find, just to keep it the same for you guys, I'm going to find an iridescent one. And it depends on if you're good with the tweezers, use the tweezers. If you're not, you can use your fingers. Sometimes you can pick them up with a craft knife. On the samples, I just used my fingers, and I may go back to that, but you'll notice the glue just come up through that center hole, and you can kind of wipe it away, or you can leave it. Like I said, it's going to dry clear. Nobody's ever going to notice it. And it serves a good purpose for holding that sequin in place. So there you go. Those I put a little closer than these. The first card. Now, just like I said, I just want to be careful that I don't put anything on top of the drying glue. So I'm going to put the wet one on top here. And I'm going to move on to this card. And I'm going to put it, make sure I'm in camera here. I'm going to put a dot of glue down here, kind of near the glitter paper. I'm going to put one up and to the right of that one. And then I'm going to put one on the left side of the glitter paper near the top. And if you want to put more or less sequins on, that's fine. I'm going to try my fingers. Not the best with sequins. I mean with tweezers. So I'm going to put a green one down there. I'm going to put an iridescent one here. And I'm going to put a medium light green one near the top. All right, to our happiest together card. Now this one I have a little tiny one on, so if you don't want to bother with the little tiny ones, go ahead and use a bigger one. I'm going to put a dot of glue right at the bottom of this T, the bottom of the T and together. I'm going to put a dot kind of above the S in happiest, and I'm going to put a smaller dot for that smaller sequin between the H and the A. Now, you want a smaller dot, but you want to make sure it's still enough glue to hold the little one. I'll be interested to see if I get any messages saying, oh, I don't like those sequins. In some ways, I think it's easier to put your own adhesive, but it's nice when it comes with adhesive too. Sometimes it just depends. So this is a medium green one that goes under the T. And when you put them down, you just want to make sure that you kind of push them into the glue so it makes that contact. Not that, you don't want to move it, but you just want to make sure it gets stuck in that glue. Now let's see if I can find a little white one to put up here. Now this is little fiddly stuff, so some people might find it more. See, this is why I don't like the tweezers. Like, to get it off the tweezers sometimes is harder. But some people are really good with them, so. Oh, let's hold it up for you. I've got all sorts of new little embellishments in the new catalog, too. All right, I got our Walking on Sunshine card. And this one I put 5 sequins on. So I'm going to put my biggest dot down here in the left corner of the green card. Another one next to the beginning of the sunshine. One under the flowers above the leaf. And if you don't think you can work fast enough, you don't have to put all the dots down right away. I just find it easier for myself. I'm going to put one up here and another little one up here above the rose. And so I used a big white one. Whoops. That went flying. Down in the bottom in that first spot. I used a medium green. In the second spot. Then I used a tiny iridescent. And then at the top, I kind of used a small iridescent, I think. And a tiny green one. This is the julep selection of sequins, if you're interested. And it was a bag. I mean, I've used more than half the bag, but it'll last you a good long time. Unless you're doing glitter cards, and obviously you use a lot more sequins in the glitter cards. If you guys are shaker cards. If you guys are interested in a shaker card class, let me know. I have been thinking about doing one, but I know they're so popular and a lot of people have been doing them. So I don't know, like, if you are over them or you've seen enough of them, or if you want to try some. But if you want to, let me know. Thanks, Mom. I will let Kathy know. I'll probably put it in the email so you all know again when I send out the notes from the class. All right, so we've got the love card. And we're going to just put 3 sequins down here. Oh, I lost. It's funny because when I took the cards out the other day to make the kit, there was a loose sequin. I'm just going to add another. I can see the glue there. And replace that. And I was like, oh, where did this come from? Is it a loose sequin that stuck to something? Or did it come off one of the cards? But I shuffle these cards quite a bit when I'm making them and taking photographs of them and then making the samples. So I'm not surprised I lost one. Sometimes I'm not careful about, or you try to be careful, but you can't help it. slide them together and get underneath there. So I'm going to put a big white one there at the top closest to the E. And I'm going to put a medium iridescent one down to the left. And then I'm going to put a medium green one on the right here. And I'm going to put one back on this card to replace the one that fell off, but I don't think I put enough glue on there. Or it dried a little too much. There we go. Or the sequin just likes to stick to my finger sometimes. Okay. Okay, I got one vote for shaker cards. Got lots of dies and things to make shaker cards in the catalog, but there's other ways to do it too. So I will come up with a couple different techniques. Okay, so on this one I had to be symmetrical because this card just yelled, symmetry design to me. So I'm going to put a dot of glue in right smack in the middle circle of that medallion. I'm going to put a dot of glue in line with these circles and right in the middle of that space on both sides. And then I'm going to put a dot above this line and below this line. So we've got 5 here. And of course, I also had to be symmetrical about how I put the sequins on. So I put a big green one there in the middle. And then I put 2 large, look at, they're stuck together. They just want to be on the same card. Some large iridescent ones on the 2 sides here. And then I put some medium white ones at the top and the bottom. And there we go. So I think these were pretty easy. I hope you enjoyed making them. And remember, the video will stay up if you need to go back and get caught up. I know it might have taken you a little longer to do the cutting and put on some of these sequins. So that'll stay up. If you need anything from these catalogs, let me know. Or you can order direct off the website. And stay tuned for the new catalog later this week. I am going to be doing my next class, which I haven't advertised yet, but my next class is going to be a Christmas card class because I want to get it done early in the season. So if you guys want to make them and make more, you have plenty of time before Christmas, before panicking. So that is going to be on Sunday, September 19th at 2:00. I just got the supplies in, so I haven't made the samples yet, but those samples I'm going to make this week, and then post them, and it's going to be, I'm going to give you a deadline again for signing up like I did for this one, because I'll need to order the supplies and get them, and hopefully won't be quite as much of a mad rush to get them out. I'm going to clean up these sequins before I make a mess here. Than these, but who knows? It is hurricane season, so. And then I'm also hoping to do a fall decor piece, something to put up and hang in your home or place on a tabletop to decorate your home for fall, because there is a beautiful fall paper collection and some stamps that, sorry, I'm probably muffled because I'm bending over to try to get these supplies to show you. So I've got this beautiful stamp set with all these beautiful gourds and sayings about autumn and October and whatnot. So this is what I kind of wanted to use for the decor piece. And this is the paper collection. It's called Pumpkin Spice. It's got some nice designs. It's my favorite, this plaid and these gourds. So I want to come up with something. Hopefully you guys would be interested in doing something decor wise. Maybe I can make it so it could be a card too. We'll see. I've done that before. And then we've got stickers with the paper pack too, if you like the stickers. So so stay tuned for that. I'm not sure when that date is coming because I've got a lot of busy weekends coming up. So it may not be a weekend class, but we'll see. But okay, Sharon, I got you down for the 19th. You could always watch it not live if you had to. So these are some of the designs. Look at those deer, aren't they cute? For the Christmas card class. So I haven't really even had a chance to look at them or play with them or anything yet, but they are they're really nice. So I'm going to come up with something for that. And this will be a good, doing another one. I'll probably, it'll probably be a class that has a lot of cards in it, because if you send Christmas cards, you probably send a lot of cards. So we'll make the most out of the collection we have. So you can get a lot of cards out of it, and you can order more sets if you need more, or just take that as inspiration. So that gives you a little sneak peek on that. Okay, close my glue up. I am going to tune off unless somebody else has a question. And I will see you all soon, I hope. Thank you so much for taking the class. And hopefully I will see you on the 19th, if not sooner. Whoops. Bye.